Alright, so I'm just going to do a quick overview of how to do some volume analysis or volume calculations. This one in particular is going to have basically three surfaces right on top of each other. So what I'm going to do is just make a new job here real quick. Let's say add. We'll say blast volume calculation, and we'll say blue dot check. So we'll go into measure, basically like this is you out on a job site. First thing I'm going to do, since I look down here and I see code and measure, I'm going to tap and hold, and I like to set mine up with point ID on the left and code and measure. That's just me. You can swap them around as you see fit, but and I'm also going to change my point ID to 1. Doesn't really matter, but you see 1 up there in the top. Now this is going to be me shooting existing ground, so I'm going to change. Before I do this, I'm going to hit my code, and I will actually delete these and act like we do not have them yet. And so let's pretend those aren't there yet. We're going to do, since we're shooting existing ground, we're going to go to new, and I'm going to call this EG for existing ground. Now again, we're going to be shooting basically, we're going to have 3 different sets of codes when it's all done, but just follow along with me. So these first ones are going to be us shooting existing ground, and I'm going to make this a blue X. You got several to choose from here. Just kind of helps out as a visual whenever you're doing it. We'll hit green check. So you'll see I got point ID, EG is my active code, and hit measure. So let's see. I'm going to basically act like I am much higher than this. Obviously, we're in Georgia and elevations are much higher than 7 or 8 feet. You see that Z value going up. I'm just changing this to make the simulator act like I'm at a higher elevation. So I've got positive values. So I'll just run it up to about 20, just so everything's positive. And I'm going to act like I'm taking a shot at here. So I'm going to hit measure. And there's my first shot. So this is me walking along my side on my grid for wherever I'm at, and we're going to keep hitting measure. And this is us just doing a topo. All these elevations are actually going to be at the same one. You can see up here in the top I got them at 20.01. Obviously that's not going to be the case on your ground, but the principle is the same. So this is just us basically walking around, taking measurements, and on our existing ground. So we'll leave it there. We got 9 there. Now, what we can do, we can go ahead and now I'm in measure right now. So at the end of the day, I'm going to swap this into 3D mode here and kind of pan around. But those are my shots. If you're kind of looking around them, that's going to be my existing ground shots. So when we get done with it, we're going to have 3 basically series of those. So let's do this. We're going to hit I, hit my map view options, and I'm going to change this. You can see we got point ID and none. I don't want that to be none. I want to show my code. So there's all my codes, point numbers and codes. We got existing ground shots. So I'm going to go into home. And what I'm about to do here now, I'm going to go into stakeout, and I'm going to basically create 9 more points directly under all these 9. So we're going to go into the toolbox, and we're going to say new point. And if we pick on this one, number 1, you can see it activates the basically the values, coordinate values, kind of goofy values, got negative easting, but that doesn't matter for this little deal here. So if you click on this Z value here, that's basically the Z value of the current shot that we picked. So what you can do for you guys, if you got drill logs and you're looking at the say the depths of the rock on all these respective points, and you got 3 feet deep, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6, 4, 3, whatever it is, you can take that elevation, and the first thing you can do is you can say, I want to go, let's just pretend for this one that the rock is 4 feet. or 5 feet. We'll pretend all these are 5 feet, and you can change these for 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever it is, but for simplicity, we're just going to say 5 feet. So we're going to say minus 5 equals, and you can see that it now makes that 15.01. If I hit check, it shows the new elevation is 15.01. It's going to be point number 10. Right now it's set to EG. I'm going to change this code, and I'm going to change it. The only one I have now is existing ground, EG. I'm going to hit my toolbox, and I'm going to say new, and I'm going to say RG for rock grade. And I'm also going to change this to red. So now you can see it's RG. Elevation's right for my rock depth. I'm going to hit check. Now I'm going to do the same thing for all of these. It's kind of a rinse and repeat process. So we're going to say new point. We're going to click on 2, click on 20, and we're going to say minus 5 equals. And there it is again, 1501. And we're going to, it holds the RG for rock grade. Check. We're going to do every one of these this way. Kind of the same process over and over, but it is a pretty simple way of doing it. So we'll say minus 5 equals, and we'll do that for all of these basically. I'll tell you what, I may actually just delete a few of these. We're going to say delete. We don't really need to do this for all of these. We'll delete him and him and him. And so there, you get the point. New point, we'll go to this guy. And again, you don't have to make all these 5. I mean, if it's going to be a minus 7, just say it's minus 7. And you can say equals, now it's 1301. Whatever the rock depths are, that's what you're going to be punching in. Check. You're going to say basically the same thing again. New point. Click on this guy. Click on our Z. We'll say, we'll call this minus 8. What the heck? 12.01. It's our new elevation. Check. Check. And we're going to say new point again for this final one. You can see it's putting the new red X's over the top of them. The blue ones aren't gone. That you can just only see one because they're stacked on top of each other. So we'll click here. We'll just say he's minus 4. You got to remember to hit this equals button. So it activates, basically it calculates your new as-built elevation. 16.01. Check again. So there we are. So if I hit my little 3D view here and we drag our mouse, you can see we've got basically 2 sets of points there. So pretty handy. And one other thing, zoom out here a second. If you hit your layer manager and you go into your job, you've got your existing ground points off, on. You can turn them off and on. Same thing with rock grade. So if I turn off my EG points, you don't have to, but you can see it's only got the rock points in here. So we're going to do the same thing. I've just got my rock points shown right now, and we are going to do this process again. We're going to call the next batch of points PG for pay grade. So we're going to do the same thing here. Now we're going to say new point, and we're going to click on this guy here. Again, we're going to tap in our Z value, our elevation, and we're going to say minus 4 equals, and we're going to change this from rock grade because that is not what that's going to be, and we're going to add a new code here, and we'll call this PG. We'll check that. Let's just make him yellow, kind of separate all this stuff out. So there's PG, there's our new elevation. Check it. We're going to do the same thing for all these. Boom. And we'll just say minus 3 or whatever the value is. Again, you're going to be using your drill logs or whatever to basically using those values. Check him, and we're going to say new point for these other 4. And we're going to say minus, and these are just bogus values I'm putting in here. I'm not really following a specific drill log. the principle's the same. And we'll say check, and we'll do these last two. And type in our Z, and we'll say minus 6 equals. Got to remember to hit that equals button. Check, and check. New point one more time for the last one here. And we'll click on that elevation again, and we'll just call this one minus 5 equals. And we'll check down. So if I go to my layers manager here, why did that one not go down? Let's see here. Let's add another one up here. Looks like I got a PG, PG, PG. I don't have one up there. So let's add him in there. And we'll say minus 5 equals. And we'll say check. So what I was saying is if we go to our layer manager here and we go back down to your let's see, to your job, you would probably not have all these jobs in here, but I just made one. This is ours here. And we turn EG on, and we've already got PG is on and RG is on, and we hit our check. And if you spin this around in 3D, on this button right here, you can left click, or not left click and drag, you can drag on your tablet screen. But you can see basically all the shots. Existing ground shots and the other ones that we've kind of calced up based off of our drill log data. So there they all are. Now the next step we're going to do is we're going to go back and we are going to build surfaces. So I'm actually going to turn these layers back off. I just wanted to show y'all that so you can get a kind of a visual of what we're doing here. I'm going to go back and hit my drop down menu. And we're going to turn off our PG and our RG, and we're going to, there's nothing in this one either, we'll turn him off. But see how I've only got EG on? We'll start with that. So if I go back and I look at this again, that's the only points I've got activated right now. They're the only ones that are basically visible. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a surface out of these points. So we're going to go to our home button, and we're going to go to volumes. And we're going to do a new surface. It says select a surface or select new from toolbox. Click on our toolbox. It says new surface. And we're not really going to do anything over here. This is kind of if you're going to be doing it in real time. We've already collected all our data. And you can do it either way. But for the way we're doing it now, we're going to hit our toolbox again. And you'll see we got a selection window here. If you tap that, what you want to do is pick a lower left corner and pick a top right corner, hit your check, and it basically says, hey, these are all the points I'm going to use to define that surface. And if we hit our toolbox again, now it says end surface. That's what we want. So we're going to say end surface, and you may call this your job name, EG, or existing ground, with a date, whatever. I've already done this once, so I'm going to call this EG1, and we will green check that, and it's going to make a .trm file. There it is. So if you hit your little button over here underneath your north arrow and you kind of orbit around, there's your triangulation mesh there, your surface of your existing ground shots. That looks like a flat plane because I didn't put a bunch of various elevations in there. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the same process for our rock grade points. Now you don't see them on the screen, but we can go into our layers manager down here in the bottom right. It's your best friend there, and scroll down to our jobs, and we're going to go down here again, hit our drop down menu. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this off. Our EG points are off, and we want to go to our next layer for our rock grade. We're going to turn him on. And we will also scroll back up here, and let's go ahead and turn this EG1 TRM surface model that I just made from those points off as well. We don't want to see that. So now we have just our rock grade points. So you can kind of customize the screen, turn on and off what you want to use and what you're trying to do. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're already in volumes, and we're going to hit our toolbox again, new surface, and we're going to hit our toolbox again, selection window, and we're going to say bottom left and top right. Obviously every job isn't going to look just like this perfect rectangle, but you get the point. So we're going to say green check, it highlights them, and we're going to hit this guy again right here, and we're going to say end surface, and we're going to call him RG1, rock grade 1. And again, you're going to want to name these a specific name pretty much, so you know what it is whenever you look at it days later or whatever. Green check, it's done the same thing. You can spin that guy around and look at it if you want to. You can see I use some variable numbers there on some of the elevations. This number 14 is a little bit lower, which is pretty much more realistic, I guess, in the real world. So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go back down into my layers manager, and we're going to basically freeze all these rock grade points and that surface just like we did the EG ones. So let's turn this RG1 off, and we're going to scroll down past our DXF. We don't really have any in there, and down to our jobs, and we're going to hit our drop down button again, and we're just kind of doing the same process over and over. So turn RG off, let's do PG, and there we are. Again, you can spin this thing around if you wonder if you're just looking at a specific set of points. You can always use this 3D button to get a quick peek at it and say, all right, cool, that's all I got, that's what I want to be working with. So we're going to do a new surface, and toolbox again, selection window, bottom left, top right, green check, toolbox, and end surface, and we'll call him PG1. Check, and there they are. So let's do this then. We've built them all. We've got all our 3 sets of points. We've got our surfaces. If you go back down in here into your layer manager, tap him, and let's turn them all on. We're going to turn on EG1, turn him on, and we've got our PG1, he's already on. We're going to do our RG1, turn him on, and every bit of this stuff you can turn on and off. That's the beauty of the iCON software. So it allows you to use what you want to use and turn the rest off for the time being. So let's hit our drop down menu here on our job, and we'll turn our EG points on, and our PG points are already on, and let's turn on our RG points on. Check. Now, so if we hit our little 3D button here, there they are. There's all 3 surfaces. So you got a top surface for your existing ground, you got a middle surface there for your rock. Like I said before, this is kind of a makeup deal here, so it's not really going to look just like that, but depends on your elevation values and data. So there's your surfaces. Now the next thing we're going to do, let's see, what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn the lower ones back off, and well, you don't really have to do that. Let's just leave them all on. You can turn them on or off if you want to, but even when you do this, so it says select, edit surface, or calculate volume from toolbox. So right now we have 3 surfaces stacked on top of each other. It's like 3 sheets of paper basically. So if I click in here, it's going to say which surface do you want to activate. Let's do our EG1. What we're going to do is we're going to calculate a volume, or I'll tell you what, let's do rock grade 1. Rock grade 1 to PG1. That's going to be kind of more like a rock pavement, a blast volume, whatever. So we're going to pick RG1, and now if we hit our toolbox, it says we have this option to calculate volume. So let's hit that. Now it says what kind of volume do you want to calculate? A stockpile, surface to an elevation, surface to a point, which is kind of similar to surface to an elevation, or a surface to surface. That's what we want to do, because your rock data in your existing ground are not necessarily going to be parallel planes like mine are kind of shown. So let's pick surface to surface, and you'll see that it says surface RG1. That's our rock surface. So now it says reference surface. You have to select one. So let's click right here. Now if I click in here again like this, it brings it up again. It does that because they're all three in the same area. So we're going to pick PG1 for our pay grade. Now basically you hit your green check, and it says, alright, rock grade 1 model to pay grade 1 terrain model, and you got a 301 basically cubic yards, you got 100% overlap. So you got some specific details here about what you're shooting. You want to have 100% overlap. Just pay close attention to this. If only half of your surfaces overlap each other, then that's the only volume that you're going to get. So you can't go out there and only topo. You want to aim for 100% overlap basically to get a true analysis. So surface area, reference surface area. So we're going to save this, and we'll just call this let's call it vol RG1 to PG1. So that's basically, it's kind of a generic term. You'd probably have a project name there, such as Highway 92, rock grade 1 to PG1 or whatever. We'll hit check and check again, and it basically saves that. So if we go to our home button here and we go to reports, it says select your report type. We want to do volume over here. You got other stuff, but we are looking at volume. It asks us about our job. Which job are you looking for volume in? We've got blast, ball, calc. There it is, volume RG1 to PG1. You can do 5 points, or you can do all your points. We only got a handful. We can leave it all points. If you want to put in your name here, you can add one and say it is I don't know, blasting 101 company, and you can put all your data in here, anything you want to. Put a company logo, we'll say green check, leave it at that basically, and we gotta hit volume again, check, and we're going to say to internal memory, sure, location, sample, file format. You can do this however you want to. We'll just say PDF. A lot of people use those. Green check. There it is, blasting 101. If you had all your other stuff in here, it would show up with your address and company phone number, etc. You got all your project info here. So you got your project, sample, job, blast, ball, calc. It's got your access whenever you use in and out of the job, your units. Of course, that's important. There's basically the name of your volume calculation, vol RG1 to PG1. So you got specific items here, boundary point 6, surface to surface. It's your volume calculation. There's your elevations for your shots, and there's some other elevations for your other reference surface. And calculation results down here at the bottom, perimeter 183, area, max and min elevation, your balance side elevation, reference surface, total results, which you really want down here, calculated volume, all this stuff down in here, cut volume 301 cubic yards, shrink swell factors at 1-to-1 ratio, corrected volume, basically there's your data. It's all cut like we know, and we'll just say green check, report successfully created. You can save that and email it as you see fit, and you can do that for all of your different jobs. If you got any questions, let me know. Thanks.